doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L Podcast.
Rocking and rolling. Tory Jr. is in the building. How are you doing today?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I seen music videos of you popping up all over my timeline. People love your face. They love your facial expressions in your music videos. You're very, very rugged. But it's like when I see you right now, you wouldn't assume that somebody like you is a rapper. But once I see you actually rapping, I'm like, oh no, she's a rapper. Like,
yeah, it'd be throwing people off.
Yeah, talk about yourself a little bit. You have a song about Warren, so are you from Warren?
Yes, I am from Warren and not the city.
Okay, we're talking about Detroit's Warren.
Yes. Detroit's Warren itself.
Talk about growing up in Detroit's Warren.
It was an experience in itself. It definitely molded me into who I am, like a large portion of who I am. It made, like, you gotta see. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, of course.
All right, I knew that. I don't know why I paused. That's embarrassing. Anywho, so I don't know. It makes you see shit, and it's like fucked up at first, right? But it teaches you deeper within, and I feel like that's like, I don't know. I would get bullied and shit like that for being the poor kid or being from. They would say that I was from the ghetto or some shit, and my dad would be like, no, we from the hood. And then he would take me to an area in the city that was worse than our neighborhood. And because I grew up at Fielding and Sawyer, which is 1 block north of Warren. So he would take us, or like me and my mom, we'd be out to dinner. He would take us to like somewhere off the Davison or somewhere where it's a little bit more rough, you know what I mean? He'd be like, it's not like this, is it? And I'd be like, no. He'd be like, okay, so that in itself is something to be grateful for. Then he'd take me somewhere that was like beat, like Delray, like off Jefferson. That's why I rap about that shit, because that's where my dad, he's a bricklayer, so he worked on a lot of the buildings downtown. He renovated the Guardian building, the Penobscot, the Book Cadillac when they did that back then, the first time around. So he would show me all these areas, and I guess I really saw how everything, it might seem rough what you in, but it could be 10 times worse. Right. And for that in itself is to be grateful. Therefore, when you're grateful, it brings more things upon you to be grateful of rather than to bask in the negativity. So that's what he would show me, like, because it'd be rough over there. And then I'd be home and I'd be like, yeah, it's cool here. I'm good.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like outside of my neighborhood is where I got a lot of shit, because I would look like people, but I wouldn't like act like them, I guess, or like when I would talk, so people would be like, oh, you try to talk black, or you try to act da da da, and I would get real insecure because I'm like, it's wild because I don't hear this at home, like in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? I will only hear it outside of the city. So yeah, it's wild.
I know the accent, right? Like when you have a Detroit accent, or if you have an accent that people would consider hood or whatever, some people would, you know, they would be like, that's not really your accent. You're just emphasizing that to sound like us. You're trying to sound like the people around you.
Yeah.
But some people are really from that way.
Yeah, which I understand because I get irritated too, you know what I mean? And that's something I've really been trying to grow myself as a person and as an artist, because to be honest, like, that's not my business to sit up here and judge anybody or question anybody or nothing like that, you know what I mean? And it comes from a place of always being questioned and always being judged, and like, I'd be like, you know, there's a million other people y'all could say this shit to. Like, my grandpa put the roof on my house, man. Like, we really was in this bitch. Like,
yeah.
Miss me with that.
Well, you know, it's obviously color has to be a part of it, right? Like what color skin you are, what races your parents were, whatever the case might be, and all that stuff that makes people conclude how they feel about how you represent yourself and how you put yourself out there. But some things can be misjudged, right? You're really from that way. You really were born and raised there. You know what I'm saying? So,
can I light this blunt on here too? So
yeah.
Cool, like,
if you want to bring the
else?
ashtray on the couch so you don't have to go right side,
okay,
you can
bye.
talk.
This microphone is wildly close to my face.
It has to be so people pick up the volumes, right? I'll talk about you're talking about you're growing up, your dad showing you different lifestyles, and you know.
Yeah, he was always super honest with me. Like, to be honest, back in the day, like, girls couldn't trick on Warren or the main roads back then, right? So they would go on like Sawyer, Tireman. Even Tireman was too busy with the police. So basically, they could trick on the side streets. And my dad wouldn't lie about none of that shit. He would really tell me what it was. And he would also tell me that, you know what, don't never judge that woman, whether she chose that life or whether, God forbid, she was took and put into that life, because that is very much real, and it's been prevalent and is very much prevalent today still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that shit just happened to me the other fucking week. I got roofied at my show.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Man, I had a show, and I don't think it had anything to do with the actual, like, establishment itself, nor the people that invited me out. But, yeah, they had me come out to the show. I went out there. I had one drink at my house with my girl, 1.5 drinks. That's it. We got to the bar. I ordered a Patron and pineapple for her and I. She drank her drink. I only drank probably like that much, like about, I don't know. She went and sat down in the booth. We went and found the booth to sit in. I got her together. I went and started walking around, you know, talking, what have you. And probably about like 2 minutes before I went to go on stage, I felt like before I had my son, I was reckless at times, right? So I did Molly shit like that. It felt like the worst trip of my life.
Oh, yeah.
It felt horrible. Like I was balls deep on stage trying to perform, and it was wild. It was a wild experience. Afterwards, I got down. I went and sat down with my girl. She's like, "Are you drunk?" I was like, "Nah, I don't know what is wrong with me." Like, I walked outside. I damn near fell out in the middle of Michigan Avenue. I pushed myself to get in my truck. I got up in my truck. I puked, and then I just passed out in my truck on Michigan Avenue. And given like with the shit my dad used to tell me about, like, he used to be real as hell. Like, you will get took. Like, if you don't watch your back, walking home from your best friend's house, you will get took. Straight up. And they will trick your ass the fuck out, whether it be on the far east side or in another state.
Yeah.
That shit happens every day. Like, it's sad as hell.
Yeah, I've had friends tell me that they would find these like zip ties around their car doors, and you know all these like weird little tricks, or they would tie a grocery cart to your car. Or
Man,
something
just
like
at
that.
our Sitco, like I think it was a year and a half ago, there was a lady up there trying to sell perfumes, talking about, do I want to sell or do I want to smell her perfume? I said, no, I don't want to get kidnapped. What? Like,
Did you make a song called Sicko?
I did make a song called Sitco.
Why?
Because I love my Sitco. That's the other thing I love about, that's how it was growing up, right? So my dad, every day, he would take me up to the BP over off Evergreen, right? And Mark owns both those spots. Well, his family does. And he does, I think, yeah. Shout out to Mark. He's a cool guy. But yeah, so it's just very much ironic because now that's my life with my son, you know?
Yeah.
And I love my neighborhood. Like, I'm super excited to launch my nonprofit, which is going to be directly benefiting my neighborhood, you know what I mean, Warren and the surrounding areas and stuff. And yeah, I just want to, my dad was super like proud of where we lived. Like, my grandpa lived there and raised my dad there and all his siblings. And then my dad, when he went to, I think, the Navy, he got dishonorable discharge because he was really the bowman. So
He was selling weed at his fucking camp. Like, it was.
I can only talk about this shit now because he's past time. I'm gonna tell you what, if my dad was alive and heard my songs, he would beat my ass. He would be so mad at me.
So he was like making money overseas, and at the same time he was selling weed to his friends overseas, or was this inside the
On
country?
the base.
Oh, on the base. Okay.
Yeah. And he got caught for it.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
But anywho, so he was just very.
Well, listen, out of all the ways to get dishonorably discharged,
It's cool, man.
Yeah, right. Selling
'Cause my
weed to your
daddy was a
friends.
bowman.
Yeah, that's
I
fire.
love him.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
heat. That was a heat way to do it. You know, I got like one time I was with this girl. This was like 3 years ago, and like I knew her for a while. And one time we were making out in my car or whatever, and like I started feeling really, really weird. Like really weird. Like all my senses were like super
She do
high.
drugs?
She did do drugs, right? But like I had no cup in the car. I had nothing.
Don't matter.
That's what I'm
She
saying.
getting that shit in her mouth.
That's what I felt like. So
Yeah.
I felt like I was on acid because I had tried acid one time. So I'm like, wait a minute, but how? I didn't have no drink. There was no way she could have spiked me or whatever. But then I was like watching Breaking Bad yesterday, and apparently like acid can just be on anything, and if people touch you with it, or if it's in somebody's tongue or whatever, and they kiss you, like it can exchange or whatever.
No.
So like, It is a real thing, man. People can find ways to spike you or drug you or do whatever the fuck to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you're doing a show and then all of a sudden you're
That's how you know I got
tripping out.
ADHD bad, man. I
What?
went on like 3 other stories before the show story. That was bad, bro. ADHD is real.
No, but it's important though because it's still a very relevant thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it was. So yeah, thankfully, like I texted my girl, right. Thank God. Like that's the one thing I did right. I left my keys with her.
yeah.
Thank God. And I texted her and I was like, I'm sick in the truck. And she came right out to the truck, like maybe about like 3-4 minutes later. But I was knocked the fuck out. I was rocking back and forth in my seat like this. And once, thank God for my girl, like Char put 2 and 2 together and she's like, all right, somebody plotting on us. Like, we gotta go. Like, we sitting ducks right now. And I was just rocking back and forth. I don't remember half this shit. And she's like, Tory, we have to go. Like we have to go. And I was like, I can't drive.
Yeah.
I can't fucking move. Like, I can't do shit right now.
I seen a product on Shark Tank. It's like a scrunchie that you can put over your cup. So it like
Yeah.
starts off as a scrunchie for women, and then like they can use it for their hair, but then they can put it over their cup so that way nobody can spike their drinks or whatever.
I would highly suggest, because I'll tell you what, I don't even want to have another drink in a bar.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
good. I had my first drink today when you hit me up. Me and my girl was having a drink at the house. I was like, girl, this is my first drink since we went out and that shit happened.
It's traumatic.
It freaked me out. Like,
It's super traumatic. What was it like? So when you're growing up and your dad's showing you the ropes to life and everything like that, when was your point of like taking, full charge of yourself and like starting to take control of your destiny?
when my dad died, honestly. I mean, like, I always just like, I guess, walk to the beat of my own drum, so to speak, throughout my whole life. Like, I would always just like cool with who I was cool with. You know what I mean? Respect is a big thing for me. Like, I don't like attention or none of that shit. I always say, like, I just want my respect, because no matter what, that's what I'm gonna always give and reciprocate. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Like, once my dad passed, I guess that's when I really, like, started to tap back into myself, because for so long, like, people would, every time I would tell people where I was from, they would say I was lying. You lying. You not from Detroit. There ain't no way you from Detroit. And, like, that shit, I really let that shit affect me, you know what I mean? Because, I don't know, like, at the time, like, my mom was sick. She had cancer. So I'm worrying about that shit. I ain't worrying about the other shit, you know what I mean? So I really lost my identity in itself. And so when my dad died, that really made me kind of like, I don't know. He was sick for like 5 years straight. So whenever his tumor would be removed or it would be like chill in his brain, we would do shit that we used to do all the time, like go to Rouge and go bike riding on our trails and stuff. And I don't know, there's an airplane thing in there where you could fly airplanes and stuff. He always used to like to watch that shit. And I don't know, just chill outside. Yeah. Like, just the most simple things, but that's really like what we grew up doing, you know?
Yeah.
So that in itself helped me to really start connecting back to like who I really was. You know what I mean?
Was everything smooth sailing for you as far as your own independence from the time of his passing till you getting into music? Was it just like...
Man, it was bad. I ain't have shit. When he died, I always say, like, I got pregnant. I told him I was pregnant 2 weeks before he passed.
How old were you when you were pregnant?
My baby, 2012, so I was 21 when I had him, so 20. And, yeah, 2 weeks before he passed, I told him I was pregnant. And then he passed, and I got in a relationship with somebody that was crazy.
Like a stalker type
to
shit?
say the least. No, like on some like, just, I don't know. I don't want to bash him or nothing. You know what I mean? But he definitely has issues.
For sure.
That unfortunately were taken out on the wrong people. So with that said, it was rough going through that. And then I feel like if I didn't have my son, because right before he died, I was out partying. I was out here. So then I was like, it was wild. So once I had my son, I had something to live for. Yeah. I feel like while my dad was sick, that's what I was living for. Like, I was working at American Jewelry and Loan. I was on hardcore pawn at the time.
For real?
Yeah, and every time I would go straight from there to my apartment, get ready, go see my dad at hospice or at the rehab place, stay with him there, then go back home, or just go straight to my second job. Like, I was just working my ass off.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you were managing your finances yourself and everything like that. And you said hardcore pawn too. Like wasn't that on TV and shit?
Mm-hmm.
You were actually on the show, or were you just like, so for real, you were like on the show?
Yeah, I was on the show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, selling used cardies. It's funny as hell.
What do you mean? Wait, you were selling
Man,
used
I done saw
cardies?
people in there selling shit.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
What was like? So how were you selling people used cardies? Like what was the
They had
experience
used
like?
cardies in the fucking tank, and that's what we sell them. That's what it is. I mean, essentially, people come in there with glasses or
Is buying used cardies like a legit thing? Like is that
jewelry,
like what I'm saying?
earrings,
like is buying used cardies like a cool thing?
pendants,
Like, I don't know if is it considered
watches, technos.
Cool? No, I get
We
that.
had a whole fucking sheet of technos. Them technos was, whew.
But I'm just saying, used cardies.
Yeah, they had a whole tank about this big. Yay, why? 1,500, 1,375.
Was the show real? Like everything that happened, or was it like scripted? What? I'm just asking. I had a friend.
What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
My friend Simon, God rest his soul, used to work on I forget what other TV show, and he said that like some of it was real, but they embellished some things. Like they would tell certain people to do certain things or go out of line when they shouldn't, like when they wouldn't have normally, shit like that. But like overall, it was kind of real. But,
They
like,
played the fuck out of that shit, man.
for real?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean nowadays when you watch it, it seems like utter bullshit.
They would play the fuck out of that shit. They would walk in. They would ask. I hope I don't get. I don't think I signed no documentation or anything. I don't know. They would walk in and be like, "Y'all want to be on the show?"
Yeah.
Like, and it's rarely anything cute or nice or nothing. Like that's what I really didn't like because I'd be in there like. I remember people would start to trip out about real shit just because some people didn't know how to watch what the fuck they would say. So some people would start losing their shit. And I would tell them, like, listen, if somebody come back up in this bitch and start spraying, I'm getting the fuck on. I ain't saving nobody. Y'all are on your own because I swear to God, y'all play too much. Like, yeah, it's just some things you got to know how to move. You know what I mean? And yeah.
TV is hard. You're dealing with real life fucking people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's not easy. It was reality
The fuck?
TV.
Somebody just got shot over fucking guacamole. Like, that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that just
You
happened.
never know. And sometimes just people just get beside themselves and say shit that don't need to be said. And to be honest, nobody knows exactly who they talk. That's some shit that I learned from my dad. Like, my dad would teach me how to move. You know what I mean? And move correctly.
Yeah, I always have a thing like once I feel a little bit of tension, I'm like, you know what? Let's just get the fuck out of here. It's not really worth being in this situation.
You gotta listen to that gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to go to something that everybody else is going to. It's like, I don't know about that one. That one, I'm going to skip that one. That house party down there, I'm not going to go to that one.
I'm telling you what.
So talk about how do you kind of get into the music scene? Like what starts pulling you towards music?
So I got obsessed with Batman right after my dad died, and that's what made me really want to just be like myself. I don't know. That's what was like super like adamant in that shit. So that's what made me, honestly. Because Ra's al Ghul told Bruce that if you don't deal with your grief, it'll eventually... I just got my Batman tattoo fixed. Look, it's ashy. Never mind.
You show it. The camera will put extra contrast on the video.
I gotta pull up this whole sleeve. Tattoo
That's-
Man
oh, no,
Page
that's
did it
actually
for me.
heat. That's seriously actually heat.
We just got it done last week.
Yeah. So and then can the camera see that?
It's ashy,
But it's cool though.
along with my ankles. Might I add how last minute I really did my makeup on the truck right here.
You
like,
look great. I don't know why you keep
the
going.
anxiety. I got a song. I got anxiety. Like that's real life, you know.
Yeah.
Like mental health is real.
No, for sure. Especially nowadays, man. It's all over the internet. Like TikTok's
Man.
crazy with it.
I wish the fuck we had that shit, but I'm glad that kids nowadays have that shit.
Wait, you like
Because,
TikTok?
Like, yeah, those informational videos, they ain't tell us shit. We just going through life uncomfortable,
Yeah.
feeling like you gonna have a whole heart attack. No, just need to practice deep breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Like, cool, bro.
Exercise, yoga, meditation.
Yeah.
So many things you can do to calm
Man.
yourself.
If I was a kid doing fucking meditation or yoga, I think I probably would have got put in a fucking mental hospital.
Why? That's supposed to help you get away from that stuff.
I know, but I'm saying like when we were younger, that shit wasn't standard practice.
Yeah.
Or at least it wasn't where I was at. It was not that at all.
No, it still isn't. Like
you look
yoga and
crazy as
meditation.
hell outside doing.
It's still not. It's not, yoga and meditation is still not like a thing that's totally.
Yeah, I can't
incorporated.
meditate on my front yard and not look crazy, bro. Like that's just what it is.
That's the problem. They make everybody look crazy for meditating. That is the problem with the world, literally.
But isn't that the irony in it though in itself? Because people meditate to escape feeling crazy in itself.
Yeah, but society makes people feel crazy for meditating. Nowadays, it's more open though. Luckily, because a lot of doctors and like NBA players and like athletes are coming out saying like, "Yeah, we meditate too. What the fuck y'all on?" So,
right? Yeah.
Talk about. So you're very inspired by taking your own independence. Like you said, your father passes away, unfortunately. Batman's inspiring you. How does that get you into actually getting in the studio?
I always wanted to. When I was a kid, I wrote poetry a lot, and I used it like as a way to kind of escape like the shit I was afraid of, because I don't care what nobody say. That's one thing I am not afraid to say. I was scared back then as a kid growing up in my neighborhood. Like, I wasn't allowed to go on Stout. My dad would always say I would get if I went on Stout or on Joy, because back then Joy and Warren was beefed the fuck out bad. Like, it was really bad. That was when like Joy Boys used to run shit and everything. And
what's Joy Boys?
Joy Boys, they ran Joy Road. That's all.
That's just like their territory, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joy
Gotcha.
Road. That was their shit. And yeah, Joy and Warren was beefed out bad. That's why I said in my one song, Tire Man is the middleman where we all eat, because it felt like that's where everybody would go to get their money or do what have you. And
talk about this middle ground that you're talking about.
Tireman, everybody, I don't know. Back then, it's like, it just felt like it was like the split in the road, in a sense, if you will. I don't know.
It's like
as
neutral.
Somebody growing up on Warren, I didn't feel scared until I crossed Tireman. Once I crossed Tireman, that's when I was like, all right. But I really wasn't even allowed to cross Tireman. I'd get in trouble. So.
Right. So that was kind of like a neutral zone, I'm guessing, where everybody could kind of.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
cool.
back then it was like, it really was like that.
Yeah.
It was wild. But so yeah, I would write about a lot of that stuff because I don't know. I used to always say my biggest fear was a stray bullet. That shit used to scare me so bad, because I would sit in my bed and be like up at night and be like, imagine if a bullet just came. Because people would drive-bys back then was really bad. Stout used to get shot up all the time. That's why I wasn't allowed to go on Stout. So yeah, like that shit as a kid, man, we shouldn't have to worry about that shit. And I would never want no kid to have to worry about that, because it's a scary ass feeling. So I would write about that, and then that's when I always wanted to do music and shit. So I finally just said fuck it and did it, because I always tell 6 stories on top of one story. So
your raps are real, like it's real life experiences, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and you know when you read the comments on Instagram for your songs when everything drops, it's always positive. Like whether it's on Detroit Rap News or whatever page reposts you look for comments that are like negative and you rarely see any. It's like people know you're speaking the truth. Like they know that the shit's real. You know what I'm saying? Like they can feel it. And when you even watch your visual performance, it's like a motherfucker wouldn't be talking like this or acting like this if they weren't from that way. Like that's how I look at it. You know the people who are faking it. You can see it right through their fucking eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But talk about the lyrics themselves. Break down some of it for us. Give people some insight into the content of your lyricism.
I used to be super lyrical based when I was out the first time, when I dropped Ghetto Bird and First Day Out. The last song I put out when I was pushing everything was Hawaiian Punch. And I was very much into wordplay and scheming, having punchlines, but still. And this time back out, I feel like I'm really trying to like keep it more like open-ended, I guess. I think I kind of like got myself in a box right now, and I'm trying to get myself out, because I felt like for so long it was like I had something to prove, because I really like it. I don't know, the shit I believe in, it matters a lot to me, you know?
It's too early for you to worry about boxing yourself in. It's like you're not even at the point where like you have people who know who you are, and they're going to support you when they see more stuff come out. But it's not like globally everybody's looking at it like, oh, that's who the fuck she is type shit.
I love hearing that, because I swear to God, that's all I've been hearing lately. And I'm like, I kind of like how I be dropping my shit right now.
No, you're doing good.
Like, I kind of like my shit. I feel like I kind of found my little groove.
No, you're in a good spot where it's a very dangerous spot, because it's like where your biggest next move comes from is how people will determine if they're going to be a fan of you or not,
Yeah.
and if they really even want to support you in general. Even if they're not going to be a fan of you, if they're going to support you and push you. Like, yeah, we know about Tory, yeah, we fuck with her. Versus if you do something where it's totally out of line or doesn't make sense to your character, they're like, man, she's fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to make sure whatever next moves you make are like big pivoting moves, but goes into the direction of who you really want to be as an artist, right? Talk about some of the feedback that you have seen that's been complimentary to you and that's motivated you to continue.
It feels really good when I have people tap in with me that was fucking with me when I did drop Ghetto Bird and all that shit blew up, you know?
So wait, you went to jail? Is that what the song's about?
No, Ghetto Bird. That was the first song I dropped that went viral.
Okay.
So I could have said that. I was the first white kid from Detroit that went viral. But I ain't going to say that because I don't want to be, then they going to take it.
What? You can't be the first white person.
One.
You can't be the first white person from Detroit to go viral.
Since Marshall. Ghetto Bird came out before anybody else did.
What do you mean?
When I dropped the Ghetto Bird video.
Yeah.
There wasn't another white kid out Detroit rapping like that at that time. It was me. Myself and I.
So you think since Marshall Mathers... This shit was fire. So wait, clarify it though. So since Marshall Mathers, you're the first white person to go viral.
At that time, I ain't hear anybody else doing numbers like that. Yeah. But I could be wrong, and I don't want to be that asshole on this couch that
I wish I was more.
And looks stupid as hell.
I wish I was more informed about shit like that. That's
but
a hard
I swear,
one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's hard, man. It really is hard.
It was ballsy as hell. I was scary as hell when I dropped that bitch. I was talking crazy as fuck.
Well,
ain't shit to load the chopper up and drop that ass. Ain't shit to throw on some Timbs and stomp that ass. Acting like a bitch, but I won't stop your ass.
What year was that?
What year was that? 2016?
2016. Okay, right.
I think.
Yeah. So when you drop it, you're obviously seeing really good feedback and everything. I noticed like you're consistent, but you're not full press right now, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when you drop that song and you're seeing high results, but then it's like you're not pushing it to the full throttle till now, you know what I mean?
Right now, I feel like this shit is expensive because I'm a real life fucking super mom. And you know what I mean? When you got real life expenses and everything, I feel like at this point, I'm just trying to do what I can and just make sure that it makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's in both sense of the term.
Yeah. Because investing, you have to have a return on the investment sometimes.
At some point, yeah. But, I mean, to be honest, we have to understand that you're chasing a dream, and it's not going to pay out like that. And that's where, like, the actual genuine passion comes through. You know what I mean? Like, that's where, like, you not going to get paid off that shit, bro. It is what it is. That's why people go to Shark Tank broke as fuck. Like, I need X amount of dollars so I can make my shit come true. Because the shit's it's an overhead. So no matter what, this shit has an overhead. If I was starting up a business and going to somebody and saying I want an investor, right, they go give me X amount of dollars to make what happen with it.
That's true, but it also goes against what being an artist is, because being an artist is supposed to be expression regardless of outcome, right?
Yeah.
So there is not supposed to be a return for artistry. It's supposed to be an expression of your inner nature and who you are and what you want to put out in the world and how you want people to connect with you, or what feelings or whatever might be happening within you, and contributing that to other people. Even if you don't contribute it to other people, as long as you're making it something that does something for yourself.
Yeah.
But I do understand that it costs a lot of money to be famous. It costs a lot of money to get yourself marketed and people to be aware of you and to get that exposure. Yeah. So I do understand the return of investment on that end. But that's the risk of being a rapper, like, or an artist or an entertainer. It's like you have to create stuff that you don't know if there's going to be a return for it. And sometimes 99.9% of the time, nothing happens.
You just gotta love that shit and want to drop it.
Exactly.
When I stopped doing it and I was just on full mom mode, because my son, he's on the, his superpower is autism. He's on the spectrum. So, yeah, when I had to go full throttle with that, when we first started school and everything, I was so unhappy and depressed without doing it. And then once I started getting back to it, it was like, I felt like me again. You know what I mean? When I started doing it, that was the biggest thing. It felt like me again. Yeah. Like the little girl that used to write poetry and shit like that. When I first started doing music, that's what I loved about it. It felt like really being myself. And then thus forward, that's what really, I don't know, I guess it helps to push through when it isn't that return coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the genuine love for it.
Yeah, it has to be that way. Or else you're just going to be like, damn it, where's the money?
Yeah. Mad as hell.
What talk about
'Cause
your
it ain't there.
what's been your favorite experience so far about your artistry though?
Man, my favorite experience. I love doing the 107.5 ciphers. I miss them days. I desperately would, not desperately, but you know what I mean? I wish the fuck that shit would come back. Or like a solid cipher place like that where people could go to and drop. And maybe there is one out here. But I don't know. It was just the vibe, the energy, everything. Like, that shit was sweet as hell. Royce just like one of my videos, Sicko.
For real?
Yeah, when I was little, I always wanted to get signed to Shady and shit. I don't know why. I just always wanted that shit. So, yeah. I've always said that's what I've always wanted with this shit. To be the first lady on Shady. I don't know if that shit.
I mean, Royce is co-signing you with that like. I mean,
Man,
he's not
when
gonna
he
just like your
Sicko,
shit.
I swear to God, I swear to God, the people was talking shit. I was like, I don't care what none of y'all motherfuckers say, because Royce just like this shit. So y'all can go to hell. Cause
I've had the chance to talk to Royce, and he's very particular. So I know that if he even likes something, that's his way of saying like, yo. It's not, some people might just like something to like it, but
yeah.
Motherfuckers like that don't just like to like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
He likes what, he specifically uses the like.
Yeah.
And Crooked Eye, King Crooked, my boy Crook, that's my real life boy. He been my mentor through this shit the whole way. He actually bought my fucking first 8-hour block because I was broke. And I needed to come back out. Like, Sicko, all that shit. That was courtesy of Crook, just off love, because he really believes in my shit. And he always says that, me staying true to myself and not conforming to what society keeps saying I have to do to blow up and everything, it just kind of helps me maintain that confidence in myself on the darkest days with it, because it's not easy. Like, anybody who said, oh, is he? Man, you lying. Like,
it's hard. No, it's hard. It is very hard. I mean, even for people who are successful, they still have times where everything dips and they're like, oh my God, how the fuck do I get back to where I fucking dipped from? It's never going to be easy in entertainment, but you just got to always give 100. And when I say always give 100, I don't legitimately mean always give 100. But when you shoot a music video or you're putting your first songs out and you're really trying to get that fan base, yes, go fucking 100. Like, really go crazy. I think everybody stops to watch your videos because of your visual expressions. That's number one. And then
I never heard that before. For real? Facts. People say that
That's
shit?
when I stopped, because you make the funniest faces, but I'm also like, nobody's making that face.
I gave up looking cute when I rap. Man, I gave that shit up. I was like, bro, I'm never going to look. Some of these women out here from the city, man, they be looking fine as hell. I be looking either mad as shit. Why is this bitch blowing up? I be looking mad as hell. I be looking funny as hell, goofy.
That's how you got.
I don't give a fuck.
See, that's
because I just let go. Like, I don't. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, and that's what's gonna stamp you, and that's what to me stamped you. When I seen you outside the store, and you were just like really going at the camera. You know what everybody does, right? So you're scrolling down Instagram, and your phone's on fucking mute, right? You're just phone's on mute. You're scrolling through Instagram, and then you see something, and you go, "Who's this person?" And then you hit that volume button. And you're like, "Oh, and they can rap. All right, that's like, go do something with that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go do something with that. If people are literally hitting that volume button to see what the hell you got to say and commenting and all that shit, go with it. Like, for real, you have something. You just have to realize it, and you have to, like, press on that shit immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I can say, because I know when somebody's got talent. Like, you got it. You can rap. You got the visual. Performance is down 100%. You talk. Fuck, I mean, this is your first interview, right?
Yeah.
You killed the shit. You
Man,
know
thank you, because I feel anxiety. My one song, I got anxiety. I swear to God. I swear to God.
No, you killed it. What projects can people look forward to from you? And tell anybody anything that you want to tell them before we sign off.
I'm currently about to keep pushing the visuals I got out here, because I think they fire. It's just I'm not marketing the shit correctly, I think. Not correctly, but I think I need to hit the drawing board with that in a sense. But I'm dropping my first project within the next 3 months. It's called the No Ghostwriters Club. And then I'm going to make some more visuals off that, get out here and do my thing and just keep pushing it and being myself and staying true to myself too. Sure. And y'all can stop telling me that I have to shake ass to make it, because I ain't going to do it. So just leave me alone. It's so irritating. Like,
who's telling you that?
Man, random, like, I'll help you with get your visuals up, but you're gonna have to do a visual like this. Well, I don't want to do a visual like that. And I think the visuals like that is fire. I love them. I be watching them. Like, what? It's just, that's what I think is super important right now, is that I think everybody should be themselves, because everybody is themselves for a reason. And it's like, there's a wide array of artists to be that we pull from for what we've seen collectively off these years, right? So it's like, if people would stop fake being this and that and just let those people that's supposed to be themselves, the world would be a lot better place.
Yeah, no conformity.
Yeah.
This was an incredible talk. It was very good to actually meet you in person, meet the person behind the music.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I appreciate you.
Look forward to the future projects coming on. We'll have you back on again soon to get some updates from you. We're at Parallel Sound Studio, Hello Visuals, shooting these productions. We're out.